Hey everybody. I wanted to play this game mostly so I could go more in depth with my review of it. If you haven't seen it, here's an annotation link to my short review, but I just didn't have enough time to go over all that I wanted to say about this one. So I'm going to go through the whole thing, give you my thoughts on it, and unfortunately I have more trouble articulating my thoughts when I'm doing these live things, but whatever, I'll have to deal with it. I'm also gonna do some speedrun strats, but my strats are gonna be way out of date because I haven't done a speedrun of this since like a couple weeks after its release. But I guess that makes it a little more interesting because most of the strats I'm gonna use I discovered myself because I found a lot of stuff like immediately after the game was released. I did my first speedrun of it within the first 24 hours after the release. But one thing that this game does really well is the intro. It does a great job of just setting the mood for the whole thing, and all great horror games should do that.
Daddy, Daddy, please don't kill me.
And there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this, so if you don't want spoilers, you should probably not watch this or something. Or even better, play the game first and then watch this. So it gives us a first look at the machine here, which is a nice way to start things off for a game called Amnesia Machine for Pigs. And then we wake up in a cage, which is really nice because it makes the player wonder what's going on. It's a little creepy, it makes you a little uneasy, you don't know what's up with that. But it's not so weird that it just throws you out of the experience. It's just like, hey, what's up with the cages? And then it solidifies the theme that they have going throughout this thing of people are pigs. It just uses that theme throughout, and I think it does it a little too much, but you know, this is a good way of like introducing that for the beginning, because they keep all the pigs in cages and then they have the humans sleeping in these cages. It has a nice connection there. Okay, so now I have control, sort of. I gotta get up. Get up, Mandus. Ugh. Let me through. Okay, so here is a big problem, is I don't think the game gives you a good enough motivation for the entire thing, because Mandus's motivation is, of course, to find his kids, because he doesn't know what's going on with them, because he has amnesia for some unexplained reason. I don't know. But, these kids are being all creepy. Why would I, as a player, want to go looking for them? They're creepy, for one thing, and for a second thing, they're always using these ghostly voices and ghostly behaviors that make me think that they're already dead. So I really have no reason to go looking for his kids. And another thing I wanted to say is the exit to this level is actually just down there, and there's a bunch of places where you can just clip out of bounds on this wall. But I'm going to go through so I can keep talking about stuff.
There's a bad man coming.
Another thing. Rocking cribs. It's creepy. But I was gonna say that a game that does the sort of the same thing, but does it way better, is Silent Hill 1. If you don't know, the game starts off by you're in a car crash, but when you wake up, your daughter Cheryl is missing, and you have to go look for her. But it does it so much better because it very early on you see her and she's very clearly alive, but then she runs off into the fog where you find a ton of monsters. So A, you know she's alive, and B, you want to protect her from the monsters, so it gives you a reason to go looking for her to try to save her. And then the cribs aren't rocking anymore. That's pretty cool. So it can be done well. It gives you... Silent Hill gives you player motivation to go find Cheryl, but this game doesn't give you motivation to find your kids, which is the character's motivation. Could have been done better. And here's a subtle thing that I liked, is you can see right here the Mayan temple and these artifacts over here, and on your first playthrough, you can see these, and you're just like, oh, he has a hobby of whatever this is. But playing through on the second time, or later, you're like, oh, this all makes sense, because this is what it's all about. He goes to the Mayan temples and sees the rituals for all the stuff that he's trying to imitate with his machine or something. It doesn't do a very good job of explaining what the machine does in the end, actually. But, ooh, another thing.
Hello. Precious eagle cactus fruit. Help us.
Precious eagle cactus fruit. That is like a really subtle hint at everything. In fact, if you Google it, that's pretty much what you have to do. You have to Google it. You have to go outside the game, look it up. And I mean, now if you Google it, you're just going to get a bunch of Machine for Pigs stuff. But at the time that it started, if you Google it, the only thing that pops up is Aztec human sacrifice stuff. And that really makes sense with Mandus's stuff and whatnot that he's doing. And B, it encourages tangential learning, which I totally approve of. Like, I would have no idea about what's going on if I didn't see that and have to look it up. It's pretty cool. So this intro is fantastic. I love it. Except for the motivation. Okay, so not much happens in this section of the game. You do get a first look at the monster if you go down there, which it does nicely because you can't really get a good look at it, but it's there. You can find it, and then later, if you think back after you've seen the monster, you think, oh, that was a monster, but if you just look in there, it doesn't look like anything. But this is mostly just a puzzle portion of the game, so I'm just gonna skip it by speedrunning. Woo! Oh, I hit the flashback. You can jump over the flashback, but whatever. I forget how to do this. It's been a while since I've actually done this, but I should be able to just... Oh, God. Whoops. Let's try that again, shall we? But since this is a puzzle point, I should mention that this game, like a lot of games, fail at including story into the puzzle designs. Like, the puzzle here is mainly just find the secret passageway. What does that have to do with anything in the story? Nothing. But there we go. I don't know. It's something that not a lot of games do, so I guess I can't complain that much. I mean, it is something that a lot of games do. They don't separate. No, they do separate. This is why I use a script for the quick reviews. This game separates the puzzle and the story elements completely. But the story and everything pretty much was done by the Chinese room, so, you know, the story's really good.
Come on, slow coach. It's this way.
This is another, like, puzzle area, so I'm just gonna skip this one too. But this is a nice, like, creepy area. This area has really good atmosphere. Oh, God. Oh. I swear I can do this. Okay, another thing, the guy on the phone, the machine, I guess, he really reminds me of Red from Penumbra Overture. I don't know if that was an intentional, but I think it was a nice touch. Throwback to Frictional Games stuff when the game was developed by a different, dang it, different company. Yeah. Wait, that's a pig man. I didn't know that he was actually in here. I don't think I've ever messed up on this section quite like that, so learn something new. But yeah, this is just another puzzle section. Good atmosphere though. Ooh, creepy. This area is really cool. The game started off slow with mostly building the atmosphere and story and whatnot. But then in this area, it has like the first really scary part. Like what you're supposed to do is go out there and get a thing and fill it with this truck juice. But while you're doing this, Pigman comes through here and starts banging on the door and stuff, and it's absolutely terrifying because at this point you have no idea what you're dealing with. So when it's coming for you and you still have to crank this halfway, you don't know what to do. So a lot of people would just hurry up with the cranking and just scared out of their minds that a Pigman or something's gonna come crashing through that door and kill them. In fact, what I did was, once it started banging on the door, I ran away from this and like went all the way out here before realizing, oh wait, I had to go get that. So I was in a panic coming back here and finishing everything. But yeah, really well done. I'm gonna show off a glitch here. Bleh. Bleh. Pig. Pig. Another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is there have been a lot of pig masks that... What's going on here? That just show up everywhere, and they're sort of like haunting Mandus. A reminder of all the things that he's been doing, even though he has amnesia for an unexplained reason. But, let me just throw this pig. And that's really well done, I think. A way of reminding everything. It's sort of like the pig masks are haunting Mandus. But it's another thing that's kind of... I don't know. Overdone, I guess. So what you're supposed to do is get the truck thing, go over there and put it back in the truck. But you can just get over that fence, but the hitbox is really high for it. So we can use this pig to our advantage. Wait. And fly! Fly, my pig! Yes! Okay, so I can get under... Oh, I missed. Okay, actually, this game doesn't have fall damage. I mean, it has fall damage. You can see I just got hurt, but you can't die from fall damage, which is, I think, an interesting thing. You can only die from monsters or falling in a bottomless pit. Alright, let's go higher this time so I have more time to get over there. Ow! Okay. This one isn't actually my strategy. The way I had it, you can get out of bounds, get a really big boost off a tree that's over there, and get on top of the hitbox of the fence over there. But I like this solution better. It's pretty cool. I think it's actually a little faster. I'm not sure.
Can we take it home?
Yes, my darlings. Of course we can take it.
But then we head into a church, which... a common thing about churches in these horror games is they always use the church as like an absolutely terrifying thing, or they have the church and then immediately after have something really, really scary. And the reason for that, I guess, is a lot of people feel safe and secure in the churches, even non-religious people. And so it immediately tries to take that away. And I think it's well done, but it's a little overdone in games, I guess. But it's effective, so can't really complain. Good music here, by the way. Even though this church doesn't actually have an organ in it. Oh, there it is. I never saw that before. Shut myself up. But then you see people coming to church thinking it's secure from the terrifying thing that happened out there, but then what's this? What's this pig? What's going on at this altar? Pig, death, and destruction. It's not good, and it throws them off. They thought this was going to be a safe place. No. There's no safety to be had. You can't actually go out of bounds in this area and skip this entire area, but I want to show you something. Well, keep going further down. And so it gives you the safety of the church, but everything's a little weird because of the pigs. And then all of a sudden it throws you into this cage area. The first place where there's an actual monster to be really scary. And this is one of probably the top 3 or 4 scariest places in the entire game. Just because there's stuff in here and you can't really avoid it. I mean, I'm gonna avoid it, but I know what I'm doing. But it also teaches you that the flickering light means that there's a monster near, which is an effective way it did it. And then there's this stuff. Oh, and there was a cool thing when this game was being created. They had a bunch of fans send in sounds of them being scared and stuff, and they used it in the game. And I think that was one of them, something like that. But I don't know. But you can actually skip this monster spawning if you jump over this fence and drop down straight here. And so I skipped it so I can talk about it a little bit. But you're pretty much forced to go straight into the monster because it's just patrolling here, and you don't have a lot of other options. This is a pretty linear area, and you're probably going to run into it right here, and you don't have a lot of places to run and hide. There's no closets that you can hide in like the original game. You don't know what to do, and it's absolutely terrifying. And it's well done immediately after the security of the church. It's great, except a good thing about Amnesia: The Dark Descent is... See if you can get me now. But a good thing about the Amnesia: Dark Descent is it had those branching paths. It wasn't totally linear like this one. You could get lost. You could be hiding from a monster, but it's just patrolling, and you don't know when to go out of your hiding spot. This game didn't really have that. And I think that's missing out on a lot of what Amnesia was. And then it becomes really apparent that this game wasn't made by the same people. This was made by the Chinese Room and just published by Frictional Games. And so that's another part of my point where this is a good game, but it doesn't live up to the original Amnesia and shouldn't be given the Amnesia title. It should have been its own thing. But I'm out of time. I'm gonna continue doing this in another episode, continue reviewing everything. This next section should actually be pretty good, so check it out. See you guys next time.